Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Would you be so kind to introduce yourselves for the record, please? Starting with Mr. Seneviratna, DST.
Jude Nelukshan, Director General, National Budget.
Dilip Silva, Director General, Treasury Operations.
P.A. Satul Kumar, DG, Department of Public Enterprises.
Finance Manager, Electricity Board.
JKN
Director, Public Enterprises Department.
Director, Public Enterprises. Erandi Godagama, Deputy Director, Department of Public Enterprises.
Fernando, Additional Finance Manager, Ceylon Electricity Board.
JKN Samanmali, Director, Treasury Operations Department.
Richard Nuttall, CEO, Sri Lankan Airlines.
Kasun Ratnayaka, Finance Control, Sri Lankan Airlines.
Niroshini Piris, Audit Superintendent, National Audit Office.
Surangi Guntilaka, National Audit Office.
Oshan Pranandu, Senior Assistant Auditor General, National Audit Office.
Okay. Since there is a person who doesn't understand English, I'm Sinhala. Let us conduct this session in English. Will that be okay? Okay. First of all, you have sent us a request for, where's the English version of this? Sent us a request seeking a massive amount of money to the extent of 231.5 billion rupees, Mr. Seneviratna, under the Public Enterprise Department. And this is a supplementary estimate according to you. And this 231.5 billion rupees is for capital expenditure under Head 241, Program 1. The provision has been settled as follows, you say: Administration and Statutory Governance Project. Object is acquisition of financial assets, equity contribution, item 009, 129 billion rupees additional provision required. 129 billion, that is for the Ceylon Electricity Board. Then you are asking for 102.5 billion equity contribution to Sri Lankan Airlines. So that is how this total of 231.5 billion has been calculated, and it is to be utilized from domestic funds. So this cabinet paper has been submitted by the Honorable Minister of Finance, the President, Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, which has been approved, and you have now sent it to our committee for the necessary checks and balances. Shall we take these two separately? Shall we first take the the Sri Lankan Airlines matter? Because in today's newspapers, there is a full-page advertisement to sell Sri Lankan Airlines. So obviously there must be some connection with all of this, no? So let us start with Sri Lankan Airlines. Ideally, we would have expected you to make a comprehensive presentation, because this is such a massive amount of money. Just before we start, just to give you the context, what you are expecting from the total non-corporate tax for this year is 215 billion rupees. That is the total taxes of payee and other non-corporate taxes, 215 billion. your request is for 231 billion. So just to put these things in context. So will you explain to us, Mr. Seneviratne, or the Department of Public Enterprises, whoever is more sort of aware of this matter as to what is required here?
Purchasing fuel from CPC. This is the provision is given for the settlement of CPC liability. On the same time,
Shall we first do Sri Lankan and do CEB later? Shall we do it in two segments, please?
Sri Lankan also 100 billion payable to the CPC for purchasing fuel. That amount will be settled through we provide the provision to the Sri Lanka Airlines. There is this total provision is requirement from the fulfillment of the IMF requirement. IMF requirement means the CPC has paid to the treasury about for purchasing fuel. In last year, about $700 million equal fuel purchased by the government on behalf of CPC. So CPC has to pay to the treasury 231 billion. On the same time, Sri Lankan Airlines has to pay CPC 102 billion, and CEB for purchasing fuel from the CPC is liable to pay 129. So the transition arrangement, the CPC will pay their liability by obtaining loan from the Bank of Ceylon 231 billion. On the same time, we will provide the provision to Sri Lanka Airlines for their liability to the CPC, but 100 billion. So provision provided to the Sri Lanka Airlines 100 billion, and also CEB to the 120 line. Those provisions utilizing, they sell the CPC loan. So CPC obtain the money from the CEB and Sri Lanka Airlines. That cash using they sell the loan from the BOC in the same day. It's a one-day transaction.
Now let me understand for the benefit of our committee. So CEB bought fuel from CPC, and Sri Lankan Airlines also bought fuel from CPC. They didn't have money. They took loans from the Bank of Ceylon.
No.
Okay.
No.
Then from who?
No. CP. They credit. Yes.
Yeah. So Petroleum took the loan from Bank of Ceylon.
Petroleum Corporation is liable to pay treasury 700 million equal.
So shall we start now? We bought fuel from some foreign company. That foreign company was paid.
No. CPC, the government is purchased fuel on behalf of CPC.
Yeah. So those people have been settled.
CPC has to settle the.
So your treasury settled the oil purchase.
Purchase to Indian credit line.
In US dollars.
Yes.
Equivalent to how much US dollars did you say?
700 million. 700 million.
700 million US dollars worth of fuel was purchased for these two entities, and the treasury.
No.
What we did was under the Indian credit line facility, we took two tranches. The first tranche is $500 million, and the second tranche is $200 million under the Indian credit line.
Okay.
And we get that credit facility. Yes. And finally, what we did.
We meaning who? The government of Sri Lanka Treasury.
Okay, right. Then we granted it as a sub loan to the CPC.
Understand. Okay,
so
fine.
Now CPC is liable to settle that around 231 billion rupees to the treasury.
Right.
That is the liability has been created under the treasury books as well as the CPC books.
Okay.
So internally,
the
government of the state of Sri Lanka is utilizing the Indian credit line, which was 700 million.
Yes,
is that right?
At this moment, we should settle that money on behalf of the government. No, so that is that settlement, loan settlement is under the treasury books,
Yeah.
as well as we are recovering it as a sub-loan from the CPC.
Right.
Now, there has to be, now, first of all, tell me, what was the forex difference? Right, you are asking for rupees, but you paid for dollars. No, so just shall we establish that first? Is there a major forex gain or loss during this time?
No.
Because this, you say this is domestic funds, right?
Yes.
So you are asking for, what are you asking for? Are you asking for 231.5 billion rupees to the treasury as a supplementary estimate? Is that what you are asking? Or is it just a paper entry?
This is the only paperwork, no?
Paperwork.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
So why are you putting a supplementary estimate?
They have no, I think there are budget provisions, they have no, that's why they want to put the supplement.
No. So what I'm saying is this in addition?
That time there are Indian credit line, not budget, no. There are our economic crisis time, India give the money. It is correct.
Yes.
And now coming there are supplementary budget for paperwork, no?
This is only paperwork, not affected to primary balance or overall budget deficit, because the CPC is given to their liability settled by the providing the cash to the treasury as a revenue code, and also same time we provide the provision to the Sri Lanka Airlines and CPC as a expenditure as a equity provision.
So is it correct to say that this is actually accounting for the Indian credit line? Can we say that?
Not the Indian credit line.
Then?
This is accounting for the liability of the CPC and Sri Lanka Airlines and CEB.
So,
In the long run, the state of Sri Lanka is responsible for the Indian credit line.
somebody has to pay it back. It's not a grant, no?
On which we have borrowed this money, no? So on the long run, that's it. Right now you are doing agency transaction.
The government has to pay the total amount to the India.
Yes,
India.
that's right.
Yeah. So basically what you are saying is we borrowed this money from India during the crisis. Now you have to settle that money at some point, right? And then you are taking it into the books of the treasury. Away from the Sri Lankan Airlines and the Ceylon Electricity Board. No. Based on the, you said no IMF condition?
No, you are giving to CPC so that CPC will pay back treasury. Is that right? Yeah. You are giving to CPC via these agencies. So CPC will pay back treasury, which gave the guarantee to buy oil at a particular time. Yeah. Right.
No, but where is the now? Can the CPC pay you back?
Nobody was CPC here. Very surprisingly, nobody is from CPC.
No, CPC is only the receiver, no.
Yeah, but then we should have, because
no, but this is to pay CPC, no. CEB and Sri Lankan they have to pay CPC. There's a CPC has supply, yeah. So the question is, you said IMF condition. What is the IMF condition, Mr. Seneviratne? You started by saying IMF condition.
No, IMF condition is this is CPC. Their books is showing their liability to the government. Government liability. They have to pay 231 billion to the government for purchasing fuel on behalf of CPC. On the same time, CPC books they are showing the payable from the CEB and Sri Lanka Airlines. And Sri Lanka Airlines also going to restructure, and CPC also balance sheet need to be clear. On that condition, the IMF say clear the balance sheet of the CEB and CPC and Sri Lanka Airlines.
So if we put it this way, Sri Lankan Airlines is unable to meet this, no? That is why it is asking the government for help. Correct? Sri Lankan Airlines does not have the money. No. So what you are doing is you are cleaning up Sri Lankan Airlines balance sheet by removing that liability from Sri Lankan Airlines and parking it in the treasury books. That is what is happening. Right? So whichever way, basically this is an exercise to make the Sri Lankan Airlines balance sheet look pretty. Yes or no?
At least not so ugly. If it is not pretty, not so ugly.
No. What are the other, is this like one of the big liabilities of Sri Lankan Airlines? Or how pretty will it get when you remove the liability from the Sri Lankan books into the treasury's books?
Can anyone explain it correct way?
From Sri Lankan?
Neither.
Sri Lankan finance people?
Mr. CEO, you can explain this.
Yeah, Honourable Minister, our current debt is of the order of magnitude of $1 billion US. So this is about 30% of the debt on the balance sheet.
30% of the balance sheet debt is this, what you are trying to clear. So it's 70%. So this is about
300 billion.
No, it's
$300 million.
The total debt is of the order of $1 billion. Of that, 300 million in round numbers is the due to CPC.
Yeah.
And about just over 300 million is to the banks, the national banks, some of it in dollars, some of it in LKR, and then we have some other debts to lessors. And we've got the international bond, which is 175 million.
Now, before I go to, I want to ask you several questions. The international bond of 175 billion,
Default.
is it in default or are you paying it?
We missed the last two payments to align with the government directive. The bond is guaranteed by the government. So after discussion and in discussion with the finance ministry, we did not pay the last two interest installments.
So you are in default, in other words.
That is correct.
There's a cross default.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Now let me speak. Let me sort of spell out what the IMF condition is, honourable members. The program will strengthen the governance of SOEs and address their debt overhangs. So according to the CEO, the debt overhang of the Sri Lankan Airlines enterprise is about $1 billion. Beyond the energy pricing reforms, SOE reforms will include three things. 1. Cabinet approval for a comprehensive strategy to restructure the balance sheets of CPC, CEB, RDA and Sri Lankan Airlines by June 2023, which is a structural benchmark. So can we assume that these cabinet papers have been submitted in order to meet in line with the CEB and Sri Lankan Airlines? Now it says restructure the balance sheets, right? And the reason to restructure is to address the debt overhang. So from what we understand now, we have $1 billion, but of the $1 billion, this will clear $300 million. Right, so the question remains to the Public Enterprise Department, what about the $700 million that is remaining, right? Then the second question is, prompt publication of audited financial statements for all 52 major SOEs, which includes the Sri Lankan Airlines. Now we looked at the last audited account, which the Parliament has received on the 22nd of March 2023, that is for 2020 and 21. We haven't got anything for 21-22, nor have we got anything for 22-23. Since the Director General of Public Enterprise is here, let me read what the law is. As per the Finance Act 13/1, the state-owned enterprise accounts must be audited by the Auditor General. According to the Public Enterprise Guidelines for Good Governance, Chapter 6, this should be audited within 60 days after the financial year has ended. Okay? So that is according to the governance, right, of Sri Lankan Airlines. We should now have the 22-23 audited accounts. But we don't have 22-23, neither do we have 21-22. Then, as per the Ministry of Finance data published online, updated as of October 26, that is 2 days ago, Sri Lankan Airlines has only provided draft unaudited financial statements for 2022. Nothing for 2023. That is point number 2. This is the agreement conditions of the IMF I am reading. This is not something I am making up. Point number 3, prohibition of new forex borrowings by non-financial SOEs with limited FX revenues. So these are the three conditions, or three parts of the condition. It says, in addition, the authorities commit to further strengthen SOE governance by clarifying the mandates of key SOEs through statements of corporate intent, etc. Right. So beyond the 3 points I have raised, Mr. DG, so the two things, right? One, beyond the three, we are talking about 52 SOEs. What about the other SOEs, right? Because one moment.
First we finish this.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan.
Yeah.
Sri Lankan will finish and then we'll go to corporate issue on that.
One and
what
then
you are raising is a
2,
corporate
3,
issue.
etc. Yes, otherwise it is
But
very clear.
we'll focus on one particular agency now and clear that, and then we'll come to
okay, that's good. Actually, I will explain the overall about the rupees 231.5 million transaction first. In overall, actually it is the mainly CEB and SLA was were has to settle 129 by CEB and SLA 102.5 billion to the CPC. The one it is comes under the CEB as a receivable, and other two
as a what?
Receivable from CEB and SLA.
Correct.
Okay. Then on the other hand, these amounts it is not equal, but some differences there is some transaction. Gross amount are 129 and 102 are payable by the CEB and SLA. Okay. On the other hand, CE government has given Indian credit line loan 700 million to the CPC dollars to buy the petrol and diesel, etc. Those days that there were some scarcity of the country, the oil scarcity regime. Accordingly, CPC has to pay to the government general treasury about 231.5 million for that transaction, the Indian credit line transaction. Yes.
This is rupees.
Is it? No. It's rupees. Rupees. That is a 700 million. 331.5 billion rupees.
Yes.
Billion rupees. That's
231.
231.5. Okay. That is the overall situation. Therefore, this is it is in financial management we are saying that this is a netting the technical word, but technical it can be done by the documentary or on the other hand using the cash flows. This is the actually few years ago I think some our officials said that there were audit query regarding that type of transaction were done in the history by documentary. Therefore, this time we decided to do settle this amount buying settle by cash. The BOC is given to a credit facility to the one-day credit facility to the CPC. Then it is sent to the general treasury. General treasury are as that at the same time those 129 and 120.5 million is transferred to the CEB and SLA as equity. And
as what?
Equity capital. As equity capital
of the government.
Okay. At that time, the CEB pays to.
So this is additional. Sorry, but is it additional equity?
Yes, additional equity. That is the government taking on the other hand their liability to the treasury.
Correct.
At the same time, this is a documentary. It is cash flow is also transfer 129 to CBN, 102.5 for the SLA. Then they are paying the CPC. The same time they received 231.1 receivables and they pay the bank loan. That's the overall situation.
That is correct.
Yes.
ඒක පැහැදිලි. නමුත් අපිට දැන් දැනගන්න ඕනේ අපිට Indian credit එක තිබුණු නිසා අපි ඒක
We're speaking in English today.
So that we now coming back to Treasury, which the original owner of the credit line is receiving the funds. Okay. Now that's, I think, I mean, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
But then our situation is such, we had to, agree with the conditions, the given historical conditions.
Yeah.
Now, the next question will be my question is to Mr. CEO of Sri Lankan, because we saw the advertisement, full page advertisement today for asking bidders, international bidders to express interest. Now, are we asking the international bidders to bid, of course, after studying our books? Now, is it 1 billion liability, or is it 700 million liability, or are we having any plan to reduce that to zero and then call and negotiate our selling of Sri Lankan Air, Sri Lankan Catering, and our destinations, which are historically, when we were British colony, these destinations were given to us, particularly that of Terminal 3 and 4, as much as I remember. I was in airlines in 1990s. These are destinations that other airlines could not get, but because of our historical ties we got. So now we are in a package, of course. Any investor will be interested in not just buying a loss-making entity, they also want to make profit-making. Sri Lankan Catering had made a 15 billion rupee post-tax average last 3 years, each year. So even if somebody is only looking at that, it will take 26 years for them to recover the money that they are asking. So my question to you, sir, is to ask, are we selling with the 700 negative balance, or are we trying to borrow some other money, fill that, and sell Air Lanka as a zero balance?
Well, I mean, that's a complicated question.
No, but that advertisement is on already.
Correct. But if you don't mind.
So where are we getting?
Right. So
then where are we going to get the money?
Shall we just defer that for a moment?
Suren, they can't give the answer that for. There is a
shall we defer?
Government want to take
DG.
Yeah, but they can't give. DG there.
No. I am not responsible to answer that question because actually it is not the restructuring process are done by the other organization that the restructuring unit of under the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
The people are there. If you want, yes, we can inform them to come and explain.
So let us park that question, Honorable Raghavan, for a moment, right? We come back to it. I'm certainly going to come back to it. I mean, you had this, if you just gave this document, all of this would have been so simple, Why didn't you give this at the beginning? When we ask your question, that is why we asked you, are you going to make a presentation? You have the documents and you are going round and round and round.
I think now
this
very
is clear.
Now
this is clear now. So basically, you're bailing out a loss-making enterprise.
Yeah.
You're bailing out through treasury money.
Yeah.
Treasury money is nothing but either tax money or loan money. So Sri Lankan Airlines has made massive losses, and you are taking the money from the people to bail it out.
Right.
That is what it is.
My question is, suppose, are we going
right?
to do that?
So if you are, straightforward and say, like you very correctly pointed out, this is the reality, this is the truth, then we are all on the same page.
Yeah.
So my point is, either way, we have to pay these Indians back, no?
Yes.
The 710 million, we have to pay them back.
Yes, it has
dollars.
it has been registered under the treasury book. There is
correct. So where are we going to get the money to pay?
Finance people, what are the conditions of? Do you remember? What's the repayable condition? Is it LIBOR plus or what? Indian credit line. How did it come to us? What are the terms? Because the foreign Indian finance minister is about to be here.
I mean, are
You don't
these,
remember. That's okay. You don't remember. If you don't remember,
no,
that's
no.
okay.
Because are these also, these are not part of the restructured loans, no?
No.
This is
Emergency.
not part of the,
These are emergency loans.
the $500 million credit line to buy fuel probably was used just for the sort of the knowledge of our own committee. Are these commercial loans? Are these soft loans? What are these loans? Did you get these loans at LIBOR plus 2-3% or what is it? Please.
Publish කරලා තියෙනවද ප්‍රශ්න ඉවරද? Publish කරලා තියෙනවද ඒවා?
Me to check it from the ERD and definitely I come back to you.
Right. During the course of the meeting, you can do that. Now, you didn't answer the other two questions that I asked you, Mr. DG.
Yes, actually, it is better to mention in summary.
No summary. Give us specific answers.
Yeah. So, second one is please repeat it again.
No, the first one, the second half is to clear the debt overhang. No.
Yeah.
Now, do you mean debt overhang the total debt? Or do you mean part of the debt?
Part of the debt.
Okay, if you mean part of the debt,
yeah.
How much of the debt are you trying to clear?
Yes, actually, it is expected that the CPC, SLA and XLA and CB at that time, in accordance with the financial capability of the treasury, only that point we could consider. But on the other hand, CB also is also we imagine that they can do the business in as a business entity, or other possible scenarios may be available. But however, some extent they can manage their cash flows, and SLA is also the same. We, according to the situation, we think some part of debt were taken by the government. Therefore, they can make some business capabilities. He can implement their business strategies to some extent.
Just one moment, please, Honorable Member. My question is very direct. It's a simple question. The question is, how much of debt are you trying to clear? What do you mean by debt overhang? You said it is not all the entire $1 billion. My question as the chairman of this committee is to understand how many more times will you come to us and say you want another $100 billion rupees, another 200 billion rupees, another 300 billion rupees. We want to know, because this is not in the original budget. No, you are bringing this as a supplementary estimate. So we don't like to have major surprises also, because under the constitution we are the check and balance to the treasury. So please tell us what you mean by debt overhang.
Actually, debt overhang means it is a general word. We can know definition, but we can define that some actually the one entity who can manage their cash flows in some extent with the other financial supports. I define that type of organization.
No, that is theoretical, no, Mr. DG.
But
I am asking a specific question.
No.
The CEO said he has a $1 billion debt.
Yeah.
So my question is, how much of that $1 billion of debt do you want the taxpayers to take? Simple question.
Now you are already paying 30%.
No, actually we paid only 331.5 billion. It is the amount that at the time of this time the treasury can actually bear. Therefore, the limit is sometimes it may be more than the other debts, but more than the actually expected level is higher. But we couldn't. I think.
But what's your target, DG? What's your target?
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to pay off 30%, 45%, 60%? That's what the chairman is asking.
Correct. That's what we are all asking. Yeah. Okay. Please, yes, go ahead, madam.
Yeah, Honorable Chairman, with regard to Sri Lankan Airlines, at the moment...
Can you speak to the mic, please?
Yeah, at the moment with this transaction, what the amount we are transferring to the treasury is 102.5 billion. By the way, with this...
that is how many dollars? How many dollars is about... because we are talking about dollars now ultimately.
Yeah, because...
300 million, okay, right.
Yeah, and with regard to the with the restructuring, whatever the progress that we receive from the SOE restructuring unit, they have mentioned that when the EOI is issued, and because the transaction advisor has been appointed, and the transaction advisor will consider to do the transaction with the other debts, but it will take after 6 months they have to go to the cabinet with the progress whether they are in a position to go with that forex loans or else then the remaining outstanding forex guarantee loans will have to be borne by transferred to the treasury if they are not in a position to do the transaction with the loans.
To come back.
Yeah, this is very clear. So what you're saying is that you can clear out $300 million of the 1 billion. And Mr. DG believes that the CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines is able to somehow manage to run its operation with that amount of debt, which will not sink the airline. And what the lady is saying, you are?
Dilrukshi.
From?
Public Enterprises Department Director.
Right. So what the director is saying is, at who is the transaction advisor for this? IFC. So IFC believes that they might be able to attract bids according to the advertisement placed in the newspapers today with
the
$700 million outstanding. If they are unable to do so in 6 months' time, you will come back and say,
fill the gaps.
Fill the gaps. Transfer some amount of the debt back to the treasury. Is that understanding?
Is that what the plan is? Roadmap is that, right?
Roadmap is
zero budget netu yaga.
Right. That is the roadmap. I think that is clear. So at the end of the day, what we can summarize is the Sri Lankan Airlines debt, part of it we are transferring to the taxpayers and hoping with that amount of transfer and 700 million left in the books, the transaction advisors will be successful in finding a buyer for this airline. If not, they will come back to Parliament and seek additional transfers from the books of the Sri Lankan Airlines to the government treasury.
Chair, if you permit.
Correct. One moment. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
No, just to clarify Honorable Lanza's question, I definitely have a question. People will not buy a zero balance, without a zero balance. But we are attaching Sri Lankan catering and our destinations. What is the value of them then? So that's the question. And if you are going to sell kind of a zero balance and a negative positive thing, a clean sheet, then how are the other agencies, profit-making two agencies and invaluable agencies like destination routes can be attached, and what is the value of those things?
We'll ask.
Actually, it's done by the restructure unit that is under the comes under the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
I can't actually reply that.
We may
question.
have to ask them.
No, see, because according to this, you are only trying to sell Sri Lankan Airlines. What the honorable member is asking is Sri Lankan Airlines holding company, as far as we know, also includes catering and ground handling and all that.
Yes, agree. But the problem is that the all we have no any information regarding the restructuring. Therefore, it is done by the restructuring unit, and we can
see. I mean, we can't work in silos, no.
Yeah.
Because the IMF condition is cabinet approval for a comprehensive strategy to restructure the balance sheet of Sri Lankan Airlines. If you take a consolidated balance sheet, Mr. CEO of Sri Lankan Airlines, do you include the revenue or the P&L of the catering and ground handling, or is it just the airline per se?
I think today they are coming to prefer only these
No,
two
but
bills.
their CEO and the
other
finance
things,
director,
I
They
don't
can
think.
come back. If they
No,
don't have the
there are
information, they can come back. But we
there are
need
two
the
Yeah,
responsible
so please go ahead, Mr.
people.
Silo.
Chairman. Yeah, it's the consolidated financial statements that we have. So the
Mike. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Please.
It's the consolidated financial statements, which includes catering, and ground handling is part of Sri Lankan Airlines per se because it's not a separate entity.
Excellent, understood. So when you say Sri Lankan Airlines, what you mean is a consolidated enterprise.
Yes, correct.
So this doesn't mean just the airline.
Yes.
Very good. That's what we wanted to know. So then in that case, everything is part and parcel of this. Then that's all. On the CEB, now, wait. Before you continue to dodge my questions, Mr. DG. Yes. Now it says audited financial statement. Now, according to your own, you are the DG of public enterprise.
Yeah.
So you have something called Good Governance Guideline.
Yeah.
Chapter 6.
Yeah.
What does it say, Mr. DG?
It is it says that the audited financial statement should be presented to a parliament within 5 months after the.
No,
after
according
the,
to your guideline, it says
Yeah.
60 days.
Yeah, 60 days means that should be given to the Auditor General to audit the financial statement.
Correct. So can we
Then
ask?
after audit was completed, the audit has given to the actually 3 months for the audit, and after
Or to the 5 months, yeah.
completing the government audit report, it should be attached to the annual report of the entity with the financial statements and publish it. Actually, it's
Understood, Mr. DG.
Yeah.
It's on Auditor General's office. Who is here from the Auditor General's office?
even with the 5 months.
Yeah, you are here from the Auditor General's office.
Yeah.
Now, could you please tell us whether you have received the audited accounts of Sri Lankan Airlines for the year 2021-22 by end of May 2022, and whether you have received the audited accounts for 2022-2023 by end of May 2023?
No.
Huh? What do you mean no?
22, 23.
Oh, Amaru.
අවශ්‍ය නම් සිංහලෙන් කතා කරන්න.
No. 22-23 final account submitted on 30th October 2023.
No, 22?
22-23.
No, I am
21,
asking.
22.
No, 20. No, I'm asking 21-22. Where are the audited accounts for 21-22 for Sri Lankan Airlines?
ඕගොල්ලන්ට මයි මාසේ වෙද්දී
No.
ස්ට්‍රක්චර් මේ පබ්ලික් එන්ටර්ප්‍රයිස් එකෙන් දුන්නද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඔඩිට්ස්?
Honorable Minister, the financial year ends in March 31st.
I understand that. So that is why I'm asking for year 2021-2022 වසර සඳහා වූ ගිණුම්
දුන්නද කියන්නේ?
කවදාද දුන්නේ ඔඩිටර් ජෙනරල්ගේ ඔෆිස් එකට? ඔව් කියන්න.
December 2023.
No, men 22.
Yeah. Then December 2023. 22.
දිනේ කවද්ද කියලා අහන්නේ?
Chairman, can I explain?
Please do.
For 2021-22, the financial statement audit was actually completed by December, but with the bond default and everything, the auditors...
No, don't give us excuses.
Yeah.
This is public money you are using. You are coming here and asking for 200 billion rupees. At least you must have the courtesy to submit the audits, no? Now the law is you have to submit within 2 months to the Auditor General. My question is, did you submit your 21-22 accounts to the Auditor General within 2 months?
By May
For the
31st.
auditors, yes. For ENY, because ENY is actually handling the audit, so we have submitted the draft.
No,
නෑ ඒක වැඩක් නෑ
නෙවෙයි මෙතන තියෙන Auditor General නේ.
අපි ඔබතුමාගෙන් අහන්නේ.
December is after ENY audit.
මෙච්චර මේ තවතුමා මෙච්චර පාඩු වෙන ජනයාගේ බදු මුදල් ගන්න ආයතනයක තමන්ගේ වාර්ෂික අයවැය පිළිබඳව ලියාපදිංචි දේ වර්ෂය ඉවර වී මාස දෙකක් ගත වී ඔඩිටර් ජෙනරල්ට බාර දුන්නාද නැද්ද කියන ප්‍රශ්නය කෙලින් ප්‍රශ්නයකට පිළිතුරු දී ගන්නට බෑ ඔබතුමාට.
Auditor General received December 2022.
December.
Yeah.
After 6 months of the due time.
By the way, Mr. CEO, you have automatic translation. You can use it. Simultaneous translation.
ඉතින් ඒක කඩවීමක් නෙවෙයිද? ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ වාර්තාව වෙලාවට බාර දීමට අපොහසත් වීමට පිළිගත හැකි හේතුවක් නෙවෙයි නම් ඒක කඩවීමක් නෙමෙයිද?
Yes, please. Yeah.
The EMI is appointed by the Auditor General to carry out the audit of Sri Lankan Airlines.
Hare.
And the draft accounts were handed over to ENY within the 2 months. And the finalized audit documents from ENY went to Auditor General in December. But there was a concern of the going concern because of the default of the bond, which took time to get sorted out.
And ඒක මේ අවුරුද්දේනේ
22.
දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඩිෆෝල්ට් කළේ මේ අවුරුද්දේක නේද?
December interest installment. So it was the audit was not signed off by the date of the default. So it was defaulted. So because of that had to be included in the audit report. So that draft accounts are subject
unsatisfactory excuses.
The question, Mr. CEO, ultimately you are responsible, right? Now there is a time period within which you need to send the accounts to the Auditor General's office. According to the Public Enterprise Department's guidelines, it must go to the Auditor General's office. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Auditor General's office within 2 months after the end of the financial year.
And they take 3 months further.
They take 3 months further. The question is, why hasn't it happened for 8-9 months for 2022?
it was provided. The accounts.
No, it wasn't provided. No, they say they haven't got it.
I think the confusion is they have an outsourced auditor who does the audit. So for those auditors, we have given the accounts in 2 months, and they took 6 months to audit.
Why don't you get rid of that auditor? Who is auditor?
Absolutely unacceptable.
Me kauda me?
ENY, Ernst & Young.
Ernst & Young.
Wait a minute. DGP Public Enterprise. There are governance regulations, and and there is a law.
Absolutely.
This is not a coffee shop. This you are coming and asking for hundreds of billions of rupees from taxpayers, and you don't have an audit done in time. I mean, this is honorable members. I don't think this is acceptable.
Unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. We are loss making, and we are squeezing the public to pay all that is politically, however damageful. We are trying to manage that. But within the institution, institutional laws have to be upheld. And this ENY are world famous, one of the best in the world, as they say. I am sure they would, if we bring here ENY, they will say you gave partially. They couldn't fulfill it, and they waited for you. They wrote letters. This is the saga that goes on, Chairman.
Okay, what about the 22-23 audit? Yesterday, because you knew you had to come here today. So now, can you please tell me, where are the audited accounts for 21-22? Who has that set of documents?
It's published in the web, and the Parliament report is done, and it's under translation.
Under translation?
With the report, the annual report is on the web, and it's...
Annual report is... We are not concerned about the web.
Yeah.
You are supposed to submit it to the Parliament.
Parliament and via this committee, no?
Yeah, there's a separate report that we have been done, which needs to...
So are you telling me, what's your name, please?
Kasun.
Mr. Kasun, what's your designation?
I'm the finance controller.
Finance controller?
Yep.
Are you telling me, as a financial controller for Sri Lankan Airlines, that you have not still submitted your audited accounts for 21-22 to Parliament?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you think that is satisfactory? You are coming here and asking for 200 billion rupees, 125 billion rupees, and you don't have the audited account submitted. I am asking a question, Mr. Financial Controller. Do you think that is acceptable? You empathize with us? You sit here?
And then ask the same question.
Yeah, just to give an explanation, there's the report that has to be submitted along with the annual report, which also needs to be answer the Auditor General's questions on the management issues they raised. And the same was reviewed and approved by the ministry last week, and we are in the process of translating.
Ministry? Who approved in the ministry? What ministry?
We have to come through the ministry to file the financial.
So when did you send it to the ministry?
3 weeks back.
නෑ ඔබතුමාව අපහසුට පත් කරන්න නෙමෙයි මේ අහන්නේ ප්‍රශ්නය. අපට මහජනයා මුණ ගැහෙනවනේ. එයාට වා කියන්න ඕනේ නේද අපි? ඉතින් මේ පාඩු වෙන ආයතනයක ප්‍රාථමික දේ ඇවිල්ලා මූල්‍ය කර්මනාකරණය පිළිබඳව වාර්තා සැපීම. දෛනිකව. පුළුවන් නම් අවලි. Because we are losing so much of money. එහෙම වෙලා වාර්ෂික අයවැය මේ කාල පරිච්ඡේදයේ අවසන් වුණාට පස්සේ හේතුන් රාශියක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔබතුමා කිව්වා වගේම.
දැන් මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශය
ඊළඟට අපි දෙනවා ඒක පරිබාහිර ඔඩිටර් කෙනෙකුට. එයා ජාත්‍යන්තර කෙනෙක්. එතුමාගෙන් අපි දැන් මේ ඔබතුමාගෙන් සම්බන්ධ නෙමෙයි වෙන ආයතන සම්බන්ධයෙන් අහපු මේගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ නෑ පළවෙනි කොලේ දෙනක් දෙනවා. දෙවෙනි කොලේ සතිය 6කට පස්සේ ගෙනත් දෙන්නේ. තුන්වෙනි කොලේ මාස 3ක් යනවා. ඉතින් අපි කල් ගන්නවා.
සුරේන්
ඒ නිසා ඔබතුමා අපිට කියන්න දැන් අතීතය හරන්න බෑනේ හරන්න යුතුයි. මේ අවුරුද්දේක වෙලාවට දෙන්නට ඔබතුමා අරන් තිබෙන පියවරවල් මොනවාද?
22 financial statements මාස දෙකක් ඇතුළත ඔඩිට් එකට දුන්නා.
ඔව්. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් දෙන්නේ ඔබතුමා
නෑ ඔඩිට් එක මැයිවැද්දේ දුන්නා.
මැයිවැද්දේ දුන්නා.
ඔඩිට් කරලා ඉවර කරලා ENY එකෙන් ෆයිනල්
නෑ ඔබතුමාලා ගාව තියෙනවද කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකක් මම ENY හරි KPG හරි කවුරු හරි ලෝක මට්ටමේ ඉන්න අයත් එක්ක මෙන්න මේ කාල පරිච්ඡේදයේදී දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ ගත්තොත් එimhe අවුරුදු ගාණක් එimhe අපිට කියන්න බෑනේ.
Auditor General තමයි outsource කරන්නේ audit එක අපි නෙමෙයි.
ඉතින් ඒක තමයි. ඉතින් Auditor General when you need 3 months of your own calculation from the agency to takes 2 months, in between is the private auditor who is an international company. Shouldn't you stipulate time to say, look, this size of a company internationally, this is the order, this is the time frame that you take, give us this report on such a date, otherwise we will cancel your contract and we'll go to some other. They are not the only agency in the world.
We specify the time period and time to time we remind
කරලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ නේ. ඉතින් අපි මම රුපියල් ලක්ෂයක් බැංකුවෙන් ගත්තාම බැංකුව රිමයින්ඩ් කර ඉන්නේ නැහැ නේ. මගේ ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන එකක් අරගෙන යනවානේ. එහෙමනේ මේ
අපිට ඒ report එක දැන් accounts ටික submit කරාට ඒ auditorට relevant documents ලබා දීම සහ ඒ ඉස්මතු කරන කරුණු වලට දාලා justification දෙන්න පොඩි ප්‍රමාද වීම කියනවා.
ඔව් පොඩි ප්‍රමාදයක් නෙමෙයි.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ මත තමයි ඒ audit firm එකට
දැන් මේ ඉන්න මට මිනිත්තුවක් දෙන්න. Auditor General ආයතනය ඔබතුමාලා ඉතා අමාරු සීර කාර්යයක් කරන බව අපි දන්නවා. කෝපායකේ මම වඩලා ඉන්න නිසා ආයතන 836ක් ඔබතුමාලා බලන්න ඕනේ. හරි. මගේ නම් ප්‍රාර්ථනය සහ මගේ යෝජනාව වුණා ඔබතුමාට ගොක් තව මේ කාලය හා අවකාශය මේ ෆිසිකල් ස්ට්‍රක්චර්ස් දෙන්න කියලා. නමුත් දැන් ඔබතුමාලා ඇවිල්ලා මෙතන වාඩි වෙලා අනිත් ඒජන්සිස් එකකින් අහනවනේ. ඇයි අපි දුන්න report එක හොයලා බැලුවේ නැත්තේ? ජල විදුලිය ඇයි බැලුවේ නැත්තේ? මේ අධ්‍යාපන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව ඇයි බැලුවේ නැත්තේ කියලා. දැන් ඔබතුමාලාම ඒ විසම චක්‍රයට හවු වෙලා ඉන්නේ. පැහැදිලිද මෙතන?
පැහැදිලි මොකද
ඉතින් මම කියන්නේ එහෙම පැහැදිලි කියලා මදි ජාතික ආයතනයක් හැටියට අපි මොකද්ද කළ යුත්තේ? අපි මෙතන දොස් කියාගෙන හරියන්නේ නැහැනේ. ඔබතුමාලගේ අභියෝග තිබෙනවා නම් අපි ළඟට ගේන්න ඕනේ. මේ අභියෝගය අපි සාමූහිකව ජය ගන්න ඕනේ. මේක රටක් පිළිබඳව රාජ්‍ය පිළිබඳව ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේ.
ඔය ටයිම් ෆ්‍රේම්වර්ක් එකේදී විගණනය කටයුතු කර ගැනීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් අදාළ විගණිත ආයතනය පත් කරපු ආයතනයත් සමග සාකච්ඡා කළා. ඒ තියෙන ඉෂුස් සම්බන්ධයෙන් විගණක අධිපතිවරයා හරහා දැනුම් දීමක් කරන්නම්. මොකක්ද ඒකට ගන්න පුළුවන් අපිට මේ අපි
අපට කරුණාකර මොකද දන්නවද? උපරිමාධිකරණයෙන් පසු දරදා හාමුදුරුවෝ ඉන්නවා, උපරිමාධිකරණයේ ඉන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේ රට විශ්වාස කරන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා ගැන. ඔබතුමාලා ගැන විතරයි මේ රට විශ්වාසයෙන් ඉන්නේ. රාජ්‍ය ආයතනවල සිදුවෙන දූෂණය ගැන හොයන්න අපි වෙනුවෙන් එකෙක් ඉන්නවා කියලා. ඔබතුමාලා ඒක කළේ නැත්නම් දරදා හඳුරන්ගෙන් පිටයි අපිට නේ.
කිසි වෙලාවක පැහැහැරීමක් කළා නැහැ. එතන තියෙන අර අදාළ විගණිත ආයතනය ගිණුම් ලබා දුන්නට ඔඩිට් ෆර්ම් එකට වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යාමේදී අදාළ සපෝස් ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් ලබා දීම සහ ඒ මතුවලා තියෙන කරුණු මත තීරණ ගැනීමේදී විගණනාධිපතිවරයාගේ වාර්තාවේ මට්ටමට නිකුත් කරන මට්ටමට ගේන්න ගොඩක් පැහැදිලි කිරීම කරගන්න වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒවට යම්කිසි කාලයක් ගත වීම තමයි ප්‍රමාදයට හේතු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.
මගේ යෝජනාව සභාපතිතුමාට මේ ප්‍රධාන රුධිර ගලන ආයතන තියෙනවානේ බ්ලීඩිං ඒජන්සීස් ශ්‍රී ලංකන් රේල්වේ CPC ඒවායේ අඩු ගානේ ඒවායේ ගණන්වත් වෙලාවට දෙන්නට ඔබතුමාලා ඉදිරියට ගන්න පියවර පිළිබඳව වාර්තාවක් අපිට ගෙනත් දෙන්න කියන එක තමයි මගේ.
ඒකද අර ඔයා කිව්වේ මේ කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකේ නැද ටයිම් පීරියඩ් එකක් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක දැන්
කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් එකේ ටයිම් පීරියඩ් එක තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක විගණිත ආයතනයෙන් තොරතුරු ලබා ගැනීම සහ ලබා දීම ක්වෙස්චන්ස් වලට ආන්සර්ස් දීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් තමයි ඩිෆෙන්ඩ් වෙන්නේ ඒක. ඒවට ආන්සර්ස් ගන්න නැතුව රිපෝට් එක ෆයිනලයිස් කරන එක ගැටලුස්කාරී තත්ත්වයක් තියෙනවා.
මේ ලේකම්තුමා අත වශයෙන්ම හරිම කනගාටුදායකයි. අපේ අප්‍රසාදය අපි මෙතන ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ ඇවිල්ලා අපෙන් බිලියන රුපියල් බිලියන 100 ගාණක් ඉල්ලනවා.
231.5
නෑ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් එක.
ශ්‍රී ලංක දෙකම නේ.
බිලියන 129ක් ඉල්ලනවා මහ ජනතාවගේ බදු සල්ලි වලින්. හැබැයි තාම 22 ඔඩිට් එක කරලා ඉවර නෑ. තාම මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරලා නෑ 21 22 ඔඩිට් එක. කරුණාකරලා තේරුම් ගන්න ව්‍යවස්ථාව 148 යටතේ සම්පූර්ණ මූල්‍ය බලය තියෙන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට. නැතු ශ්‍රී ලංකන් එයාර්ලයින්ස් එකටවත් මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයටවත් නෙමෙයි. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවෙන් තමයි විගණකාධිපතිවරයාට බලය දීලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ඉන්ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් කමිෂන් එකකුත් තියෙනවා මේවා හොයලා බලන්න. ලැජ්ජ නැත්නම් ඕගොල්ලන්ට ඇවිල්ලා මේක අපේ මෙහෙම ඉල්ලන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ මෙච්චර මේ පස්සට ගිහිල්ලා. Okay. So we are going to make a directive to the finance ministry that they have to ensure and tell us what steps you are taking to ensure that these audits are completed on time.
එයා ලංකායක ෆිනන්ස් මිනිස්ට්‍රිය නෙමෙයි ඔඩිට් රිපෝට් ඒවා මෙයා කරන්න ඕනේ සිවිල් ඒවියේෂන් මිනිස්ට්‍රියට අදාළව. එතනින් තමයි අදාළ ලයින් මිනිස්ට්‍රිය වෙන්නේ.
මට තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඇයි ට්‍රෙෂරි ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ බේර ගන්න හදන්නේ?
ට්‍රෙෂරි රිප්‍රසෙන්ටේටිව් කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා.
අවසානයේදී මිසර් සෙනවිරත්න අතිරේක ලේකම්තුමා ඒ ටෙක්නිකල් ලයින් මිනිස්ට්‍රීස් වල ගණන් දෙනුම් මෙනීම වෙනත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් දවස් අවසානයේදී බිල ගෙවන්නේ ඔබතුමාලා. ඒක ඔබතුමාලාගේ තමයි සුක්කානම තියෙන්නේ. මේක කවදා හරි ගෙනත් දෙනවද අපිට? අර මිනිස්ට්‍රේට අයිති මේ මිනිස්ට්‍රේට අයිති අපි දන්නවා ඒක. ඒක ටෙක්නිකලි අපිට අතම වෙලාවට රේල්වේ මිනිස්ට්‍රේ එක වුණත් කියන්න පුළුවන් ඒක ආයිති ප්‍රවාහන අමාත්‍යාංශයට කියලා. රේල්වේ මේ අපි කියන්නේ මේ දැන් AG ඔෆිස් එක ඔයගලන්ටද රිපෝට් කරන්නේ. ඉන්ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් කමිෂන් එකක්. ඒ නිසා අපිට මම කියන්නේ සභාපතිතුමා අපි සාමූහිකව ගැටලු තිබෙනවා නම් අභියෝග තිබෙනවා නම් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න.
මේක හැමදාම කියනවනේ. හැමදාම කියනවා. ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න, ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. හැමදාම මේකමයි වෙන්නේ. ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ ඔඩිට් කමිටි එකක් තියෙනවා නේද ශ්‍රී ලංකන් එයාර්ලයින්ස් එකේ? Mr. Chairman, Mr. CEO, you have an audit committee at Sri Lankan Airlines.
Yes, Honourable Minister, we do have an audit committee.
Yeah, so what is the responsibility of the audit committee of your company?
Timely auditing නේ අපි වෙන මේක කතා කරන්න වැඩක්.
Yeah.
Yes, so they look after the financial controls of the company as well as the financial statements.
Yeah, I mean, it is not satisfactory. I hope you yourself realize that, you know, when you ask for these types of large transfers from the treasury, you know, at the very least, we should have the audits completed. Now, this is, I'm reading off the Finance Act. Mr. Secretary, the Auditor General shall be the auditor for every public corporation for the purpose of assisting him in the audit. The Auditor General may, if he thinks necessary to do so, employ the services of any qualified auditor or auditors who shall act under his direction and control. So, EY is acting under the direction and control of the Auditor General. So, right? So ultimately, EY does not have any responsibility, no, because these audits are signed by the Auditor General. Okay.
Commissioned by
Honorable Chairman, with regard to the audited financial statements, what you have mentioned with regard to the responsibility of the Finance Ministry, since these audited financial statements or even the financial statements were not available for number of entities, therefore, from last year we had very strong supervision with these entities, and by today, because there is a condition from the IMF also, at least for the 52 the main SOEs, there should be the audited financial statements by 30th June, but that condition has been extended up to 31st December. By the way, now the current status with regard to the 2022 audited financial statements, we have received 34 audited financial statements, and still 18 financial statements are unaudited, and we have number of discussions with
let her finish, let her finish, please.
Yeah, because
ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන්නේ දැන් ඉස්සරහට කරගෙන යන වැඩ පිළිබඳවනේ. මම එක දෙයක් කියන්නම් රාවතුමාගේ අවසරය ඇතුව. IMF 5 සුද්දා ඇවිල්ලා පයින් ගහනතුරු අපිට අපේ ගණන් මිනුම් ටිකවත් අපිට හදාගන්න බැරි જાතියක් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපි. ඒකනේ ඔබතුමිය කියන්නේ සරලව.
No, means with regard to, because I'm stressing with regard to this
but
52.
you started saying there were lot of lapses, and then IMF came and said you put your books on in order. Otherwise, then now you are saying, okay, we are therefore we are updating.
Maybe what I mentioned based on my language, it may imply like that. But the thing is, I wanted to mention that there is a condition also with the IMF. But there is our guideline is also mentioning, and we have written even in the cabinet memorandums.
Thank you. Now, so Mr. Secretary, you are not responsible for these audits. What you are saying is you have to come through the Minister of Civil Aviation. So you take no responsibility. So by when can you give us a date, Mr. CEO? By when can you submit to Parliament the audited accounts for 2021-22? By when?
By Monday.
This Monday, so that is like a week away. Then by Monday. Then could you also tell me, Mr. CEO, when you will submit to us the 22-23 audited accounts?
Yeah, so the AGM is fixed for the 30th of November, so it will be immediately after that.
Okay. So 30th November for the 22-23 and next Monday for 21-22. So okay. Then we have on the CEB. Now CEB also you are doing the same thing. No? So how much is the debt that you have to clear? Because the IMF condition is not only for Sri Lankan Airlines but also for CEB. So what is the debt overhang that you are trying to clear in the CEB?
සම්පූර්ණ ගාණෙන් කීයද? ප්‍රතිශතයක් හැටියට. සම්පූර්ණ ගාණ කීයද? 129ක් ඉල්ලනවා දැන්. බිලියන 129ක් ඉල්ලනවානේ. ඒක සම්පූර්ණ ගාණ කීයද? ඒකෙන් මේ කොටස දාපුවම ප්‍රතිශතයක් හැටියට කීයද?
Yeah. But we are requesting from the government only what we are payable to Petroleum Corporation and for the project loans. Other loans, for bank loans, we are servicing. All the suppliers we are settling.
දැන් හරි දැන් අරයා කියවනේ $1 billion කියලා පාඩුව. ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කියවනේ $1 billion.
Not පාඩුව, debt.
I'm CB. Not
හරි මට පැහැදිලි කරන්න දෙන්න. ඒ හා සමාන උදාහරණයක් ගත්තම ඔබතුමාලා දැන් කියනවා බිලියන 129ක් විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයට ගෙවිය යුතුයි.
Yes.
හරි ඒ ගෙවන්න තමයි මේ මුදල් දන්නේ විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලය තෙල් සංස්ථාවට මේ මුදල ගෙවන්න ඕනේ අන්තිමට තෙල් සංස්ථාව ඇවිල්ලා ට්‍රෙෂරි එකට ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ට්‍රෙෂරි එක ඔක්කොම එකතු කරලා ඉන්දියාවේ ණය ගෙවන්න ඕනේ ඔය කතාවනේ දැන් මේ පින්තූරෙන් කියන්නේ දැන් මම අගේ ප්‍රශ්නය මේ 129 කියන එක ගෙවිය යුතු මුදලෙන් කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක්ද? බිලියන 129ක් අපි ගෙවනවා අද. දැන් ගෙවීමෙන් අද අපි අප්‍රූව් කරනවා එක. ඒක ගෙවිය යුතු මුළු ප්‍රමාණයෙන් කීයක්ද කියලා?
Shall I explain with the background?
Please do.
Yeah. This is the balance accumulated to CPC.
Yes.
What was the reason since 2014 to 2022 we didn't get any tariff increase? So, but we were asked to provide 24 hours electricity supply without interruption. So we provided, but only thing is that our revenue is not sufficient to meet total cost, especially additional thermal power. So we had two options. One is to borrow money from the market. So we borrow a significant amount from the banking sector. So the balance only we had to defer from major supplier. That's why it was defer. Since the tariff given 2022 February, since then we are no any outstanding CPC. From the daily requirement, we by paying the money. So no any outstanding. But this 55 billion is the accumulated figure. So we are, this tariff increase not cover that all loans, that legacy loans. So then we request from the government.
Sorry, sir. Did I hear 55 million is the
Billion.
Yeah, 124 billion altogether.
120.
Well, what is 124 billion?
129, yes. 129 we are owed to the CPC. That's why now we are requesting. So we informed the governments we are not in a position to settle this one because it is not covered from the tariff. So then the government took a decision to take over this liability and in return to increase their investment by way of equity. Yes.
එච්චරද ඔබතුමාලා CPC එකට ගෙවන්න තියෙන්නේ?
Yes. Now we are paying after tariff increase daily requirement. There's no any outstanding.
No, that is to the CPC. You have no outstanding after we
we are paying the daily and by the fuel from IPP also.
Okay, what after we clear this?
Yes.
What are the other outstandings? What is your total debt?
Yeah, there are outstanding for the normal day-to-day short-term payables. There are about 59 billion. Out of that, 21 billion for the VAT we have to pay custom. We have given the guarantee. So now we are settling monthly.
Okay.
And other than there are loans we have taken 135 billion from the commercial banks. That also we are paying the monthly according to loan agreement. And there's another 20 billion debenture that will be matured on 2025. So we are making some reserve to settle that also. Other than there are some project loans, 59 billion from the that was serviced by the treasury. And balance loan, that is a direct loan, we are supposed to pay that.
How much is that?
How much is that?
That also coming about total project loan 127. Out of that, treasury sub loan 59 billion. That means
LKR?
Yes, LKR.
So what you're saying is, after you clear this, you have about another 300-400 billion
altogether.
300-400 billion that you have to pay.
Yes, exactly.
And which you think with your
From
general
proceeds,
revenues you can.
They are doing business, no, they are project loan they can give.
Okay, so now we understand the minister has put the restructuring proposal to cabinet and got approved.
333 billion according to the outstanding.
And then it will come to parliament maybe next week. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, I'm not finding fault. I mean,
nobody.
if you, cost-reflective pricing tariffs is fundamental, right? If you are not reflecting your cost in your tariff, then somebody has to pay. And this is what has happened, right? So that is nothing. It is a policy decision. You had nothing to do with it. So now, after this recent increase, the last week's increase, you think you will be able to now sustain the operations without any?
By end of December, we will be in a break-even position.
Break-even?
Mostly,
Right. This, what I'm going to ask you is not directly relevant, but I'll say this anyway because there's a lot of discussion. In that, there is a lot of hydro capacity. What you had expected for this month was something like 300 gigawatt hours of hydro. But you are ending up with about 800 gigawatt hours of hydro. And therefore, perhaps you need not have increased the tariffs by so much. Is there any truth to it? If you can answer it, you can. If not, it's okay.
Yeah, at the time of we are piling the tariff, we were not expected that much of hydro situation. Now actually, as you told that October is a favorable situation. So, month of February, we are making some profit. Exactly correct.
So, it is good, isn't it, what the Honorable Minister has suggested, that every 3 months, you make a change so that the the unforeseen errors in your prediction can then be adjusted.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a very progressive decision.
Yes.
And I think we must applaud that kind of sort of decision making, so that
reality reflection.
So if you had underestimated, right, and you're getting so much more hydro, perhaps every 3 months you can adjust it. Perhaps it can go down even.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
That is a good decision, and I think that's not only find fault, we also must, when we see positives, make right. That's all then. Right. So we will approve this, but the direction is that you have undertaken to submit these reports on time, and I think you must ensure, Mr. DG of the Public Enterprise Reform Department, please give us a note. I'll give you about a week or two. We'll give you 2 weeks, because only 19 entities haven't still provided the accounts. 19 out of the 52. Out of the 52, 19 SOEs have not provided audited statements. So we would like to 18. Sorry. So we would like you to give us a statement of all 52, where they are, and when the audited accounts are expected to be submitted to us. Right.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.